My name is Jen Barth, and I am founder of Big Small Brands. And I'm going to start not with a Broadway song, but I'm going to stall and wait for my slides to begin and start, I guess, with a story of my own. When I was 8, very tragic tale, I was not allowed to be a Girl Scout. But that didn't stop me from striking a deal with a few Girl Scouts in my neighborhood. See, I wanted to go door to door more than anyone in the world. So I told them I would go door to door and sell cookies for them for the opportunity to be able to hand out flyers for my newly launched babysitting service. So that year, we actually sold more Samoas than any Girl Scout troops in the county, and we also ended up booking up my babysitting business. Today, I've moved into the realm of, I no longer help people sell cookies, but I help people tell their stories. And one of the things I've started to realize in my client work is that despite the emerging technologies and tools and social media platforms that we have available to us, most of us still really get hung up on the actual words on the page. The idea of writing content scares us. So I wanted you to think about a story that got through to you. What is it about that story? Stories all have a common framework, and it's a framework we forget about. There's usually a character, they go through some sort of challenge, there's some sort of resolution, and there's a message. And we've been doing this since before we could read and before we could talk, and yet somewhere along the lines as business professionals, we get degrees, we get credentials, and we get caught up in acronyms and marketing jargon. And we need to remember that stories can help us establish humanity. They can create connection. And really, going back to this familiar framework can get us out of that box. Think back to a lot of the marketing information that you read on websites, and often we get lost. Story also increases the chance that people will remember you. If you simply tell someone a statistic, there's about a 5 to 10% chance they'll actually retain it. Add a story to that, and it's about 25 to 30%. But simply telling a story, it's about a 65 to 70% chance. And this was the London School of Business that conducted this research. This is real, and it's something that we forget. There's a lot written about that, but one that I like best is words are how we think, stories are how we link. Stories help someone actually take a leap of faith necessary to actually want to learn more and engage with you. So I promised 4 tips, but I'm so fired up and I'm going to try to do 8, so bear with me. Just like any story, though, mine has chapters. Some may apply, some don't, so pick a few that make sense and just forget the rest for now. The first is a big one, and those of you who work in the world of web design will understand this, or anyone who's had a bad web experience. First impressions count. You have to sweat the small stuff. It doesn't matter how brilliant the story is on your website if your homepage is not clear. People form an impression on the professionalism of your brand in about 1/120th of a second. You have to have clear navigation and a simple hierarchy of tasks that people know they can take to get to the information. I say to my clients, dust off your porch before you roll out the welcome mat. It's an onion, not a grape. Rome was not built in a day. No story was ever told in one sentence. You have to think about the fact that we learn in layers, and your story should unfold with chapters. Give them a little and allow them to dive deeper, and that's how your story will get told. Search for your Samoa. So I told you a little bit about my story, but I have to tell you, I forgot about that in 15 years as a marketer telling other people's stories, and it wasn't until I created my own website and my mom read it and said, what about that story about the Girl Scouts? I'd forgotten that. So when in doubt, call your mom. Content is your currency. We know about pay-per-click advertising, right? What if somebody charged you $1 for every word on your website or every word you shared in a social platform? You'd think a little bit more carefully about how you use words, how you spend them, and how you share them. And also, words are valuable, and they need company. We need to remember the power of visuals, whether it's bulleting information, bolding, using an image, and please use a good one, not clip art, or enlisting the help of a professional to create an infographic. Don't travel solo. Everybody needs a sidekick. The best stories have a cast of characters, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves when we try to be the only one in there. Many B2B stories are actually told from the wrong point of view. You're not the hero. You're the sidekick, so keep that in mind. Chip and Dan Heath have a great book called Made to Stick, where they cover the 7 successful elements of stories. Simplicity is a big one, an element of unexpectedness, and emotion. Your brand is a lens, and you want to use that lens as a filter through which you can make decisions, so I recommend that. And finally, look in the mirror. At the end of the day, if you can't, with a straight face, read the words on your website in the mirror without laughing, or perhaps, take a glass of wine with a friend and just say it, the story often comes more naturally when we're not thinking about it in terms of website content. So I just hope a couple of these tips are helpful for you, and here's kind of a weird one, but I'll throw it out there to kind of end the day. Write your business obituary. Sit down today and act as if your business was going to end tomorrow. If it ended tomorrow, is the legacy that you want to leave behind the one that's reflected in your website? Often we realize that there are so many things that mean a lot to us that we're not saying. So just take out your pencil, erase it, and start from scratch. Don't be afraid to make a change, and time's up. That's it.